Good Wizards fans, is your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. And today, the Washington Wizards only made one trade today. It was Daniel Gafford to the Mavericks. We're going to talk about that and what did or did not happen with Tyus Jones, DeLon Wright, and Landry Shamet. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. It's your host, Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Today is trade deadline day. Raj Chan Drajiri says sad day, but we're going to get to comments, of course, at the end of the show. But let's of course get to the one trade that was made today. Let's talk about that first. So Daniel Gafford was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. The Washington Wizards received Richaun Holmes and a 2024 first-round pick from the Mavs via the Thunder. If you look at Josh Robbins in his tweet, he says that the Wizards are going to be getting most likely the 26th pick of the draft, which is a late first. But, look at it this way. Yeah, so he says the pick in the Daniel Gafford trade that's incoming to Washington will be the more favorable of the Clippers and Thunder's first-round picks. The Clippers have the least fifth best record, and the Thunder are tied for the second best record. So for now, the 26th overall pick. So I want to say there were some pick swaps involved as well later on. I want to say it was like a 2028 pick swap, if I'm not mistaken. But Brandon, what's your initial thoughts and what's your reaction to the Daniel Gafford trade to the Mavericks?
My initial thoughts were that's it. My reaction to it was it's a good trade. I mean, we got a first round pick. I knew that was a mandate by Ted Leonsis. I'm a firm believer that we needed to go into this draft with 2 first-round picks. Now, I get it's a late-round pick, but you can use a couple of second-round picks and move up maybe into the lottery. We'll see. Maybe throw a play. Here's the thing, man. Draft night, we could throw a player and some picks in there and move up. So they have a lot of capability as far as this draft coming up because I get it. This draft, there's not a lot of talent where you can get somebody and they're going to be able to contribute right away. But this is a highly developmental draft. And I think, look, if we're, I don't know if we're serious about rebuild. I mean, that's something we're going to talk about in a little bit. But if they hope to make this a younger team and try to get some youth in here, I thought they'd definitely get a couple guys you could develop in this draft. And they did that. First round pick. Richaun Holmes, basically same player Gafford is. I mean, we both agree that he's slightly better than Richaun Holmes, but they're both are undersized centers who are very limited offensively, but defensively they do their job. So, and then he's got one less year, and I believe what we were talking about before the show is a player option next year. So, I mean, it's a good deal. It's not a bad trade. Now, looking at all the people that were on the trade block, I thought that he was the guy that we didn't really need to move. You could say Kuz, but Gaff. If Kuz has a team-friendly deal, Gaff has a really team-friendly deal. So, I mean, I didn't feel like it was necessary to move him, but maybe it was the best chance to get a first-round pick. But I believe it was a good move, really good move. But looking at the trade a little bit, definitely thank you for your service, Gaff. Covering the team, man, this is my second regular season of many seasons covering the team. And, I just interviewed him a couple times. Really dope dude, man. Really dope, down-to-earth. Really genuine guy. I mean, from a personal standpoint, big fan of him as a dude. As a player, coming over from Chicago, he gave us a lot of good highlights, man. That dunk where he was reaching behind his head and dunking. I mean, he's athletic, a lot of the dunks. Another thing I really liked, and I got to see it the last game, which the last game I covered, man, ended up being his last game or as a Wizard. But taking a kid from the crowd and letting him throw the alley-oop and him dunking, that was cool to see. So, a fan favorite. Nobody really has anything bad to say about him. Just a really good dude, came in, did his job. But, now he gets a chance to go play with Luka and Kyrie and hopefully go challenge for a championship. So he's got a fan for life with me. I'm definitely going to keep tabs on him in Dallas or wherever he goes. And hopefully, his roads lead back to DC one day because, like I said, really good dude. But, the trade was a good trade. It was. Now, we're obviously going to talk about what the direction was. That was my reaction. I was like, man, that's it. I was hoping this was the first domino to fall, and then finding out that we, So we're gonna talk about that. But as far as this move, I'm a fan of it. We got a first round pick, which is something that we couldn't get with Bill, we couldn't get with KP. We were able to get a first round pick, give us more capability to move back into the lottery, grab a couple guys in this draft, try to develop them. So if I'm going to grade it real quick, I'm going to grade it a B+. I mean, Richaun Holmes, one less year on his deal, similar player. You get a first round pick. It's a good move in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they finally get a first round pick. They didn't get one for Brad. They didn't get one for KP. So they finally get a first round pick. I am a big fan of Daniel Gafford. I'm happy for him going to a playoff team. He's a guy that needs a point guard that can create for him. And I think Tyus did a good job getting him, layups and lobs and stuff like that. He got a couple of those against the Cavs. But no, that's awesome. You provided the insight, man, that, the way he does with the letting the kids throw him an alley-oop. You had a good conversation with him, a good interview. I mean, he's just he's a good, genuine person. And I think they're going to love him in Dallas. I really do. Him going over there playing with Luka and Kyrie, I think they're going to give him a lot of easy dunks and a lot of easy layups. And he's going to be going to the playoffs. So good for him. And, the first round pick is nice. It is, like I said, it's the 26th pick of the draft at this point. We knew we weren't going to get a high lottery pick or anything like that. I'm happy that we even got a first for him, because he's more of a backup center. I think over there he'll start before Lively. I think he'll start over Lively.
Yeah.
I think he's the better player at this point. And yes, I do think he's better than Richaun Holmes. But Richaun Holmes, they're both kind of just in that same similar tier for backup centers. But for the Wizards, I think it's a good trade. I think it's good that they got a first. Ted did say the mandate that they allegedly he put out a mandate that they had to get a first. If anybody got traded, I thought it was going to be Tyus. I thought it was going to be Landry and DeLon. And then moments before the trade deadline, they said the reports were that Kuz was not going anywhere, that they were going to retain him. So I hate to see Gaff go. He was the only big that we had this year until Bagley came. So he tried his best. Yeah. Tried his best to rebound. Yes, there were games where he gave up 20 points and 20 boards or gave 30 points to the opposing big man. But he played hard. He played with effort. I give him credit for that. The Russell Westbrook year, he had a good year when he came in. We traded Mo Wagner. We traded Troy Brown for him. He came in and elevated the defense. Him and Russell Westbrook had great chemistry. He was a big reason why we made the play-in that year and then made the playoffs.
Yep.
So, we've seen Gafford kind of progress. He's been up and down, but I think he's a good backup center in this league. He's going to be a really good backup center for years to come. But, yeah, as far as trading Gafford, did they necessarily have to trade him now? I don't think you're going to get anything more for him.
Yeah.
Like his value was never going to go up than what it is right now. So I don't mind the trade. They just have to draft a big man next year. They got to draft a big man. They can't ignore the big man position coming up in this draft. They have to draft a big. They have to bring in more bigs for sure, because it was just him out there rebounding. That was it. So I don't have a problem with the trade. I see a lot of Wizards fans are disappointed in giving him up for the 26th pick in the draft, but it's kind of like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
Like I said before, you weren't going to get a lottery pick for a backup center, and teams knew that. Other teams that were in the running were like the Rockets, the Knicks, and they took the best offer. The Mavericks were super, super aggressive. They traded for PJ Washington. They traded for a couple guys in this deadline, and they were willing to give up a first. And you get a 2024 first. It's not, this draft is not the best draft. From what the experts are saying, their scouts are saying, but at least it's not like a 2030 draft, like the 2030 pick that we got for Jordan Poole. Like there's no protections from what I've heard. So, the pick, it just is what it is. It's the 26th pick of the draft. You get that. You can get an immediate player. So they just have to hit on the pick. And the odds are low because it's a 26th pick, but, you got to do your due diligence of scouting and hit on the pick. So I have no problem with the Gafford trade. I think it's a good trade. I hate to see him leave. Yeah. I really do, but it's a business, and they had to get a first-round pick. They finally got one.
Oh, yeah. I have no problem with the trade. Good trade. I like the return. It's like I said, B+. Why it's not an A? It's just because Gaff's leaving. I mean, I like Gaff, good dude, but look, that's the nature of the beast, man. You personally, you might like these guys, but they are going to be traded, released. I mean, it's the nature of the business, man. So definitely want to see him prosper in Dallas, but it's a good return. Like I said, the 26th pick, the scouting department's going to have to put in a little work, but there's been success stories in the later rounds of the draft. I mean, a lot more guys who've been productive in the later rounds than the earlier rounds, in my opinion, the last 10 years. So you could definitely find the jewels around. And again, and we're going to talk about that, but you can definitely use one of these guys. Kuz is really who I'm looking at. Is if you want to move him in the offseason in the draft, you can do that, throw a pick or two, and you can move into the lottery. So I definitely think they need to move up into the lottery, get a couple of lottery picks, because like you said, Alex R comes to mind. I'm just saying, we need a center next year. And a lot of people are looking at him. There's a lot of good options. Like I said, these so-called experts, the ones who thought that Darko Milicic was going to be a star, they think that, yeah, I agree with them to a certain degree that this is not a draft where you're going to draft the guy in the top 10. They're going to immediately come in and start. But this is a high upside developmental draft. So you're going to find guys, if you develop them right, there are some all-stars in this draft. So they did a good job. I have none to complain about with this portion.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem with it. I think a first is fair for Gafford. I think that's a good trade. I really do. I don't think it's a home run trade, but I think it's a darn good trade. I think they made a good trade, and use that pick this year coming up and see what you can get. Because Gafford, he just wasn't in there. He's not in their long term plans. He just wasn't. And like I said, I wish him the best. I think he's going to be really, really good for the Mavericks. Now, Richaun Holmes, I think the team, I'm not going to say the team got weak or anything like that. We're not trying to win a bunch of games this year. They're just not with or without Gafford. So I'm intrigued to see how Richaun Holmes played. He had a good career, and he has that player option, $12 million. So he's going to pick that up for 2024, 2025. He is on a 4-year, $46 million contract. Just looking at some of the numbers for Richaun Holmes. We'll talk about him next a little bit, not too much. But the last recent years, Sacramento, 3 points a game. In 2022, 2023, he had 3 points a game. Then this past season, 3 points a game. But the year before that, in 2022, he averaged 10. In 2021, he averaged 14. 2020, he averaged 12 points a game. So, and then his career high in rebounding was 8 and 8. Gafford's averaging like 10 and 8 and 2 blocks a game. And he was also he was a candidate for most improved back in 2021. So Richaun Holmes, I mean, he's a solid player. I think like you said, you're gonna get the similar play. They have similar play styles. I think Gafford's more athletic though, and can go get those lobs. But we're gonna talk a little bit more about him and just them not making any other moves. But before we get to that, today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us on this week's eBay Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Pick of the Week. He picked Marvin Bagley. Bagley is Washington's likely starting center after the Daniel Gafford trade and is worth grabbing for fantasy leagues. He also says Asar Thompson, the Pistons overhaul their roster, and we can only hope that Monty Williams will bump Asar back into a larger role. He also says Benedict Mathurin, Buddy Hield is now in Philly, so that should mean more minutes for Benedict Mathurin. Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. If you have a personal experience about buying a car, buying a part, check out eBay Motors. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time on your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items, exclusions apply. Also, make sure you guys check out the Locked On Sports Network. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now you can also find it on Amazon Fire TV. Locked On Sports Today is here for your 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find the Locked On Sports Today channel now on Amazon Fire TV. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the roster. Tyus Jones, Larringer Shamet, DeLon Wright did not get traded. Johnny Davis didn't get traded. Nobody else on the roster got traded except for the trade that was made a couple weeks ago. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna look at it from two different perspectives, man. On the one hand, I'm the positive perspective. Okay, do you need to move Kuz? No, but the team-friendly deal. I get it. You can move him down the line. Tyus, there's news that they want to re-sign him. Okay, we'll see. I mean, he wants starter money, but I'm gonna give you my negative take on that. But I get it to a certain degree. No, let's scrap that. I don't get it, man. I mean, you had to move him, man. I don't Tyus re-sign him. Okay, I can see that. But why not get assets from him and then re-sign him in the offseason? I mean, you had to get something. You had 4 second rounders in your face, and you said no. And then now they went and got Monte Morris. I mean, for a lot less. So you had a good deal. Kyle Kuzma, I get it. Leadership standpoint, I agree, man. It's been cool watching him evolve into a complete player in DC. But when he signed the contract, he knew, we all knew that eventually he was going to have to be moved. So everybody thinking he going to be here for his whole career. He was never going to be here for his whole career. It was a move that was made because, one, he couldn't find a good deal. So he pretty much settled for us. Let's be 100% about that, because if he could have found a better deal with a team that's contending, he would be a Wizard right now. So, he got a team-friendly deal, but the whole MO was to move him. Now, get there. We can wait. And I mentioned the draft. You can slide him into a draft deal and move up into the lottery. But next year, he's 29 years old. Okay, my problem is this. With the money tied up, and even if you re-sign Tyus, you got Shamit for another 2 years. You're supposed to be a rebuilding team. You got all this money tied up long-term for at least the next 2 to 3 years. You got money tied up. And then you look at other perspectives. Okay, where's the playing time for the young guys? Like Bilal, let me go ahead and tell you what they need to do, Bilal. He needs to go ahead and start a shooting guard. Slide Poole's butt to 6-man, and he can start off. He can be on the bench, and he can start the second unit. Look, he's shown that he can't start. All right, all the issues he has, the attitude, playing like trash, all this, put him in a 6-man role. That's his best role. Why don't we just expedite and put him there? Because Bilal needs to start. Now, Diddy's already there, so in the lineup with Bilal and Denny, it's going to hide the defensive deficiency of Tyus. So I think that'll be a good lineup. But another thing to look at, Kuz has got to change his game, because it's supposed to be that in the second half of the year, it's supposed to be about player development. And I think it should still be there. I don't know where you're going to find the minutes, but because I think Johnny Davis at this point is probably going to be on the go-go for the rest of his career, because where you going to get minutes from? Like, he already wasn't playing. So Sham is here, man. I mean, so maybe they move him, and they probably will move him in the offseason. But I don't understand, man, that you're wasting time. We wasted. I mean, it's just, and that's why the MO around the league is that we can't develop people, because we're not providing an environment for people to develop. And I mean, what are we doing? You should have moved all of them. All of them should have been dealt. And then you play high ball, and I get that, man. But look, you just struck out at the crap stable, man. Like, I mean, people were able to go around us and find lesser deals and still fulfill the needs they wanted to. And it's okay to play high ball, but then it's like, you had 4 second rounders in your face, and you say, no, why? I mean, no disrespect to Tyus, good floor general, good point guard. But come on, bro. If you're expecting 1 to 2 first rounders, man, check his cup. I mean, you're not going to get that. I mean, as a GM, I'm not spending the first round pick on a guy who's a rental, unless you're telling me that you're going to sign on my team long term. Why would I give away future assets? It makes no sense. In Kyle Kuzma, what universe is he worth 2 first round picks? Nowhere. Nobody is spending 2 first round picks on Kyle Kuzma. And there's no disrespect. Kuz, if you end up watching the show, listen to it. I'm a big fan of it. But let's be real. We have to be 100 about this, man. 2 first round picks? No, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. So it's just they needed to move on. And now it's going to be another season where it's lost. It's a lost season, in my opinion, because, and it kind of leads up to this point, E. Really? Did they really even screw us over? No, I don't think so, because we are 9-41. We're already doing the deed. So it's not like we really got, you know what I mean? We didn't mess anything up, because we're the second worst team in the NBA. So, keeping them here is not really damaging our draft capital, because we're going to get a top 5 pick with the current group we got. So we must as well just keep doing what we're doing, because again, we're 9-41. So it's just, as far as beyond this year, I don't understand what makes sense. Now, Richaun Holmes, the contract is not bad. Marvin Bagley, the contracts aren't bad. They fit the timeline. Bad contracts or contracts that people are trying to get off of for a pick, I totally get that, man. But this infatuation was like, oh, we want Kuz here long term. No, because if Kuz is your number 1 option, you're not winning anything. And that's just being 100. You're not winning a title as Kuzma is your number 1 option. Where? Taiwan? That's it. And the NBA, you're not winning a title with Kyle Kuzma as your number 1 option. So we got to stop this pipe dream thinking that, oh, he likes it here. I like it here. But, I mean, if I find something cheaper, I'm moving. I mean, let's be 100. So I don't get it, man. I think I thought they should have did a lot more at the deadline, because now, development wise, you can slide Bilal in the 2 guard, but you have pretty much told Johnny Davis that's it. Because where do you play him? Shamit's there. I mean, Corey Kispert, he's got an imperfect role at the second unit. But the 2 things I do want to see, if they're going to retain these guys and keep them here, is number 1, slow down this 25 daggone shots a night from Kyle Kuzma. Stop it. Spread the shot attempts around a little bit. That's all I ask. Number 2, slide Blau in the 2 guard. The Jordan Poole experiment ends now. Stop it. I'm tired of watching it. Put him as a 6th man and let him cook on the second unit. I do not want to see him start, man, because he's proven he's not a starter. And with the attitude, I could care less how much he gets paid. If you don't want to be here, you want to play like crap, sit on the bench. And then you can come off the bench. And then it was humble. Maybe that's what needs to happen. We need to humble him real quick, because he's feeling himself come over here with $25 million, thinking he's going to be the franchise guy. And then all of a sudden, man, you're not even the subway guy. I mean, I'm saying like that. Stop it. He needs to be off the bench. So that's my little spiel, and it's going to end it there, man. I thought that we should have did more, and I don't quite know what division is going forward, man. I'm thinking the offseason, maybe they do some magic, man. But look, if the Kuz is on this team in 2 years, I'm going to start questioning, man. I'm just going to leave it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely disappointing for them not to move Shamet or DeLon or any of these guys, and they may not have had any value at all, but that was certainly disappointing. Yes, they did play hardball, and it's Will Dawkins, so I'm giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving him, Schlenk, and Winger the benefit of the doubt, but it is disappointing that they weren't able to get anything for these guys in return at all. It just free up space for younger guys to play, like Johnny Davis, or letting Bilal start. Now, they can let Bilal start anyway, even if they don't trade these guys. They just got to make the proper adjustments, and switch up the lineup. But yeah, looking back at it, so Pat Beverly got traded to the Bucks. And you're kind of like, okay, I guess that's a domino down, because DeLon Wright, the Bucks had interest in DeLon Wright. Then yesterday, you see the Monte Morris trade. We're like, okay, yeah, so the Timberwolves aren't going to trade for Tyus Jones anymore, because they already got Monte Morris. They're just not willing to give up a first. They were willing to give up for second-round picks, but once they heard that, they're like, okay, no, we're just going to go bargain bin shopping and give up a second for Monte Morris. So the league told the Wizards basically, the Wizards basically held the line. That was the words that were used for the Timberwolves for second-round picks. But that's the best you're going to get for Tyus. You're just not going to get a first for him. And I like Tyus's game. I love the assist-to-turnover ratio. I love the floater, the three-pointer, how he gets guys involved and all that stuff. But we know what his ceiling is, and we know what teams are going to give up. They're just not going to give up a first. So I get Will Dawkins is playing hardball. You got to set the bar high. Tell teams that you want to first for Kyle Kuzma, but realistically, you're only going to get a first for Kyle Kuzma. So eventually you got to move him, and teams know that, and they're not going to give up 2 first-round picks for him. They're just not. But I do think he did a good job with getting a first for Gafford, but keeping Shamet, keeping DeLon and those guys is just definitely a head-scratcher for sure. But who knows? Maybe teams just didn't want them because the Bucks' job was filled up. That was taken away. And then the Sixers traded Pat Beverly for Cameron Payne. So it was kind of like a lateral move. And the Sixers are basically like, okay, yeah, we're good. The Spurs, I kind of knew that they weren't going to trade for him, because it's like they already got his brother. You already got Trey Jones basically 2.0. You got Trey Jones who does the same thing. He does the same thing as Tyus Jones. He's not looking to score a bunch. He's looking to pass. He's going to get the ball to Wemby. He's going to get out the way. And that's all the Spurs really needed. So they didn't really need to bring in Tyus Jones. Like I said, the Sixers were crossed off the list. The Bucks were crossed off the list. And the Timberwolves crossed themselves off the list. So once we saw each team make a move, it was like, okay, we're just not going to get what we want for Tyus. And now we have to go into the offseason and say, hey, are they going to sign and trade him? Or are they just going to sign him and keep him until the trade deadline next year? Is he possibly going to leave for nothing? So there are some huge concerns that they have to take care of in the offseason. DeLon is basically a lost cause. You're not going to sign and trade DeLon. You're just going to have to let him walk wherever he wants to go, whatever team wants him. Same thing with Shamet. I don't see a buyout or anything like that happening, but it's kind of disappointing because you saw them get so much from Muscala and what's the other guy's name? Gallo. Yeah. And they weren't able to find something for these two guys. So it is disappointing. And we'll see how the playing time goes. They better give some younger guys minutes. They better do that if they keep throwing some of these guys, because there's no reason to showcase Shamet. There's no reason to showcase DeLon. So there's no more excuses. So I want to see what Brian Keefe does with the rotation in the roster coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm looking at some of the comments, man. I get it. Yeah, you weren't going to get a lot for these guys from the get-go.
Yeah, you weren't.
But
I get it.
But I don't care if you go get a guy in the G League, man. Go get young players. I mean, I get something, because you got guys that are holding up young guys from getting minutes. But matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and get his ad out of the way, because I got some comments I like to respond to. So
we'll get a quick word from you on Nissan.
Yes, sir. So tonight's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive. Google built-in is your always updating assistant calling almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is a perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Has room up to 8, an expansive cargo capacity, and advanced available 4x4 capability. And the 2024 Nissan Armada will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. So take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, my favorite, or Nissan Armada, and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. So a lot of comments tonight.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can put up the first one.
Oh, got you. All right, we're going to start from the top. Bear with me. Oh, Lord, there's a lot of them. We got 137 in, man. So definitely appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we were waiting on this one, man. They were waiting to chime in about Gaff, man. They really were. What a trade deadline.
As Republican Casual says, the news saddens me as I like this environment, but I'd rather die Team Gafford since college. Cool. Kisper is still my guy, so I'll split custody and spend time with both kids like a good parent. I mean, I'm with you, man. Gaff's a good dude, man. Like I said, he's a good dude. He really is. And so, obviously you hate to see him go just because of that, but I get the nature of the beast. I get the business. It was just, out of everybody, I thought that he was the one guy we didn't necessarily need to move on, but they got a first round pick, and I stressed it for 2 years that we needed to go into this draft with 2 first round picks. So I, for one, can't say anything. So, I mean, I got what I wanted, and you got a guy again with one less year, practically the same contract. I guess he's like 12 million, and then Gaff's like 12.3. So it's right there. The money added up, and so it's a win-win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Denny, I know Bill Simmons on his podcast said that Denny wanted out. He requested a trade, so Denny's still here. So if he did request a trade undercover or whatever, it didn't get out to the public, and he's still on the Washington Wizards for now. We'll see what happens in the offseason. I don't think he'll be traded anyway, but Republican Casual says, yeah, so yeah, you already read it out. The news says, as I like this environment, but I'm ready to die for the team. Yeah, since Gafford, I'll split custody and spend time with both. Yeah, you're something else, Republican of Casuals. You're something else. Yeah, Gafford, I hate to see him go. Kispert's still here. We'll see what happens with Kispert next season. Let's see. We'll see if he's traded or still on the roster. But yeah, man, I hate to see Gaff go too, man. I'm a huge fan. Like I really love the way he played when he first came.
Yeah,
of course, when we made the play-in in the playoffs, he's come a long way where, he was, getting too tired after like 3 minutes of playing. Like they would have to sit him down. They said he had sports asthma or something like that. And he calmed down on the foul trouble this year. That's one thing I'll say. He improved on that. He improved on setting screens. So there were some things that he was starting to shoot a jumper towards the end. So yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy that's definitely going to get better on the Mavericks. So I think he's going to improve and get better. Well, or is he still going to get cooked on defense? Yeah, of course. But I think he's going to have some really good games with Kyrie and Luka. They're going to like him a lot. I think Luka's going to be throwing a lot of lobs to Gaff, and Kyrie's going to throw a lot of lobs to Gaff. And he's going to be in the playoffs, man. So I'm excited to watch him. I am.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here. Shook Biz said Ted needs to go. I mean, I don't know why you mad at Ted. He got nothing to do with it. I mean, we got a first round pick, so I'm not mad at Ted today. Let's see. A lot of good comments. Let's see. Student Flaherty says, who starts at center now besides Bagley? Who plays center? I mean, Bagley's probably going to start now. I mean, and Richaun Holmes probably be backup. Going forward, man, I definitely think they need to go out and get a guy in the draft. But also, what's going on with Vucevic, man? Need to see what's going on with him because we desperately need his depth over here. But yeah, Bagley is the guy. He's it.
Yeah, Bagley probably starts. Richaun comes off the bench. We still have because Bagley he plays center, but he kind of looks like a 4, honestly.
Yeah.
But the game has changed today, and Richaun Holmes is 6'10", so they're a little, I'm not gonna say undersized, but we don't have a 7-footer at the big man spot. But they both are athletic. They both can run. They both rim run. They both can play above the rim, get offensive boards, and whatnot. But they're still gonna give up a lot of points in the paint. I feel like still. And the rebound is gonna be okay. It's gonna be better, of course, than what it was before Bagley got here. So, but I think they'll be fine rebounding the ball. I don't think we're gonna lose the rebounding battle every night. But I would start Bagley.
Yeah, same here. I mean, Bagley's the guy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Let's see. There's a lot of good ones, man. Let's see. Yeah, if you see any Eaters, go ahead and pop them up, man.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Viewed Richaun Holmes highlights on YouTube. The guy's cooking like a half spoon. We don't want to love him. Yeah, everybody cooks on their highlights though. That's the only thing. And the highlights they might be from 2 years ago because the last 2 seasons he averaged 3 points a game. So, but when he gets playing time, he is productive. He can give you 8 to 10 rebounds. He can give you 2 block shots. He can give you 2 alley-oops, kind of like Gafford was doing. So, I would expect to see a lot of similar things that Gafford did.
Yeah, I mean, the practically same player. I mean, it's not going to be too much of a draw off, man. I mean, we're not going to look out and make the playoffs. And then, I mean, we're pretty much right on the trajectory where we're trying to be. So we'll be all right.
Right. Lee Leora says, what a big time disappointment from now. Every night, we're all going to see Kuzma and Poole shoots.
Yep.
Joe, what kind of a reboiled they are talking about. Now, if it's up to Dan Quinn, he said recalibration, but over here, it's a rebuild for sure. Yeah, Jordan Poole's still on the team. Of course, you can trade him for anything. He's going to start. Keith may eventually have to make him come off the bench. We'll see if Keith makes that decision. But yeah, right now, Kuz, he wants to be here. The big reason why he wants to be here is because he gets all the shots he can get. He has the green light. He's the number 1 guy on the roster. Also looking around the league, Spencer Dinwiddie, he got waived today. He got traded. He got waived. So I don't see another team picking up. We'll see what happens with that. And then Killian Hayes, he was released as well. He was waived. But to go back to Kuz, he wants to be here because he knows he can get all the shots up.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be doing all that if you're trying to. I mean, some people want to be here long term. If you're trying to develop, then you can't shoot 25 times a game. Let's be real. He's got to try to get other people involved. So you can't just chuck it up 25, 30 times a game, man. It can't happen.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, I got you.
Yeah, Shug Bees 1 says, I thought this front office was going to make a difference. I'm not impressed so far. Yeah, it's too early, guys. It's too early. Where it didn't help the Bradley Beal trade with the no trade clause. That didn't help. That was supposed to be where we got firsts. The Porzingis trade, we only got a second at Tyus. And then after that, they drafted Bilal. Bilal's a work in progress. We'll see how he ends up being in the future for sure. Definitely looks like a promising prospect. We see the talent there with him. But as far as like trades, Tommy Shepard kind of set these guys back. They weren't able to get first for anybody. They finally got a first for Gafford. And then I was impressed with the Bagley trade. So I really like the Bagley trade and I like the Gafford trade. But only thing that I don't like is just not trading Tyus, Landry, and DeLon. And I get people are going to say Landry and DeLon had no value, but still, they should have been more aggressive, even if it's not just now, but earlier in the process to get these guys on their way to a different team.
Monte Morris got traded. Come on, man. Really? I mean, like really, with that's the argument. Like they have value. I mean, if you're able to move, have you seen the names on the list of people got traded? There's a few people I didn't even know they're in the NBA, so I don't buy that. I mean, they got value. Stop it. Few people trying to throw shade my way. My man Armand said, "Pretty sure Brandon can start over Poole." Appreciate it. Stuart Flighty said, "I don't know. Maybe Ed." Okay, now look. Hey, if you're in the DC area, bring your shoes, man. Come on. We'll see if Brandon can ball. I'm just saying. Only one way to find out. My man Shub T said Brandon done moved the Wizards to Taiwan. Yep. Or I mean, if the Kuz is the number 1 option, then we must as well be in Taiwan. Because that's the only place we're gonna win a championship with Kyle Kuzma is our number 1 option. Let's be a totally 100. Let's see.
Yeah, Locked On Law says Ted hired basketball people, but it's going to take time to fix the mess Grunfeld and Shepard created. Yeah, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
It took. You look at what happened with OKC. It took them a while to get to where they're at with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren and Lou Dort. You look at Atlanta. During their rebuild, they went 19-65. They went like 20-62 when they got Trae Young. He was the first pick of the draft. They built around him. They got John Collins. Capella and some other Bogdanovich, Lou Williams, some other guys, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Final. So it takes time. It takes like 2 to 3 years to really rebuild, especially when you tear it down to the studs like we did last year, trading Porzingis, and you don't get any first-round picks for those guys. So it just makes it harder to rebuild a team because you look at the Jazz, they got so many first-round picks for Gobert. They got so many first-round picks for Donovan Mitchell. Like, if we could have got a haul like that, then that's where it's like, okay, the rebuild process is going to take faster. But now where we're at, where you get second round pick after second round pick after second round pick, it's like it's going to take more time than some other rebuilds for sure.
I mean, yeah, definitely we have time. Look, I have trust in this front office right now. And look, it's not even close to time to panic. I mean, look, but here's the thing. I mean, when we traded away Bradley Beal and KP, the whole point was we were going to do a full rebuild. When they re-signed Kyle Kuzma to a 4-year deal, at the time I was like, because I mean, to me it was more realistic to sign him to a 1-year deal, prove a deal, because obviously he didn't find a deal that he liked. So sign him to a prove a deal, and then you could have moved him because he has value to a contending team. Because who do you think a contending team is going to trade for? A guy who is almost 29, who has a 4-year deal, or a guy who has a 1-year deal who's expiring and can give us a boost in the playoff run? And so I never understood why he did it from the get-go. So it's just, I don't understand the vision, man. I like you're looking at maybe the start of next year is year one of a rebuild. So you wasted this whole year on what exactly? Because it wasn't really showcasing because they ain't traded nobody. I mean, you've been showcasing Gafford for years because you've been here for years. It made no sense. I mean, Shaman. So we'll see, man. I mean, I'm hoping that they have something up their sleeve, and that I think that they may. I mean, I'm thinking they may make a move at the draft, which I think would be smart. Offload the contract and get another lottery pick, and then really rock out in the top 10, top 15, man. But I mean, we'll see because. Kuz, I get it, nice dude. I like him, man. But leadership. But at what point you have to move him? And we both agree that his value is not going up. I don't know. I mean, are we looking at the same player? I don't know. Some people think he's Kobe. I mean, it's not another option. Like he's not. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy who on a championship team. What option was he on the Lakers? What, third, fourth? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, what are we doing? So that's my bit. Mm-hmm. What do I know?
Yeah, Jesse Sachs says, why the heck is Gill on the team? Of course, nobody's cheering for Anthony Gill. And they love Anthony Gill. Yeah, he's like a player coach out there. Brandon 1906 says, sorry to say, but this was a Ted Leonsis mandate. They had to acquire a first-round pick. It was a literal report that said Ted wanted another first. I did see that report too. Yeah, I think a lot of people saw that. That could have been into it. That could have been a part of trading Gafford. But hey, this is the only guy that can get a first. They've been trying to trade Tyus for a first so much. They turned down the second-round picks. Is it because of what Ted said? Is it because of the mandate? Are they trying to get 2 first-round picks for Kuzma because of the mandate? So I hope that's not the case. I hope it's not Ted coming in, making decisions and kind of forcing their hand to do this and do that because it's something that he wants. We don't want a situation where it's like Dan Snyder, where Dan Snyder's coming in and telling these guys what to do. We don't want Ted coming in and telling Will Dawkins and then what to do and be like, hey, you have to get a first-round pick instead of taking the 4 second-round picks. So I don't know. That's a report that came out. I don't know how true it is, but it probably is true.
Yeah, no, I saw the same thing, man. And I know there's a lot of rumors that there's mandates put down that they needed picks going forward. So I mean, like I said, it's not time to panic, but we've got to be realistic of what we're trying to do going forward. They need to have a conversation with Kuz and say, look, you're here to be a leader. We cannot have you playing the style of basketball you're playing right now, which is shooting an ungodly amount of shots, like 25 shot attempts. We can't be doing all that, man. Poole needs to go to second unit. That needs to happen. Like he scored like 0 points last game. He's not even trying. Like, what are we doing? Like he knows. Go to the second unit. I think Bilal is ready to be that 2 guard and see what he can do, man. Especially with a point guard who knows how to control the team. I mean, look, if you're gonna have Tyus on the team, utilize him. How you do that? Play to his strengths. He's a floor general. This is how you get a lot of these looks. You want to evolve Bilal's shooting game, give him as many shot attempts as possible in the second half. Put him out there with Tyus, man. That backcourt, he's going to get attempts. He's going to get set up. So, I'm not panicking. I get it. But let's come up with a recipe of success here. If we're going to have these vets on the team, come up with a way where they can contribute and put us in a situation where we can succeed. You know what I mean? And that's all I ask, man. So,
well. All right, but we'll probably wrap it up here, guys. Just want to thank you for listening and tuning in, making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you guys get podcasts. Another trade deadline. Just I'm not going to compare it to Tommy Shepard or anything like that. Like I said, it's just way too early. I know a lot of people are disappointed that Tommy didn't make any moves last year, and a lot of people are kind of keeping that same energy with the front office right now that they didn't make a lot of moves. But I get it. They did move Gafford. They moved Bagley earlier. Somebody keeps commenting that they weren't going to get anything for Landry or DeLon, which may be true, but maybe you could have packaged them up in a deal to send them somewhere else too. So you just got to be creative with the deadline too. So, Brandon, you got anything else?
No, sir. Looking forward, man. Second half of the season. Let's get it. 32 games.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so I just thank you all for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you guys get podcasts. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.
Peace.